Boom! It's a cruel summer, bro.
Bananarama style.
That's a perfect song for today, and Taylor Swift can go fuck herself for redoing that song, okay? I don't even know if it's a redo, but I know that she has a song that's out right now that's called Cruel Summer, and she can go fuck herself, okay?
I thought you were actually... I didn't think that was real.
No, that's real. She has a song called Cruel Summer. I haven't even listened to it, dude, because I just know if it's a ripoff of this, it's just going to piss me off, because this is just a fucking good song, and it's a perfect time to play it because... listen, guys, you just had Labor Day weekend, and this is a special bonus episode of Homeschooled Podcast for Labor Day, okay? Coming out on Labor Day, and I'm excited. We're going to have some fun. And listen, the summertime is here. Clean the barbecue. You know, after you're done using it today, put that shit away because fall's right around the corner, bro.
Make sure it's off first.
Yeah, and so today there's no guest. It's just me and Kevin. We're going to talk about an interesting and fun topic in the spirit of Labor Day, okay? And we're going to be talking about jobs.
Women's pregnancies.
Some people think that that's why Labor Day is a holiday.
Really?
It actually, Labor Day is a holiday to celebrate people that work.
Yep.
That's what it's for. And how do we celebrate it? Not working.
Hey, why not, right?
That's the only thing that's like that. Like, it's National Pie Day. Let's eat some pie. It's National Work Day. Let's stay home.
Yeah.
But so that's what it is. So today, Kevin and I are going to talk about, like, you know, some day jobs that we've had in the past. You know, it's a long journey to where we've gotten ourselves. You know,
That's true.
You guys probably know our history. You know, we met in an open mic, and I steered straight for that road for stand-up comedy, and then Kevin, you know, went off into a different world of filmmaking, and we're both doing our thing that we love. And but you know, in the beginning, you have jobs that you don't want to have, and you go through stuff. And anyway, we're gonna break it down for you, just some of our experiences of jobs that we had from the beginning till the end, and even still, and share some funny stories with you that you guys have in honor of Labor Day, just to remind you that whatever it is that you're out there trying to follow, or your dreams, or whatever you're trying to do, is that, you know, it's cool to have a job. It's cool to, you know, everybody's got to put that hustle in, the extra hustle. It's just important to remember that when you're not at work, to focus all the other time on your time. You know, if you can put like a bunch of hard work into somebody else's business, then you should be able to do the same amount with yourself. And, you know, I know you're tired, but fucking do it. But anyway, we're going to have some fun today. It's Labor Day, and we're going to talk about jobs. All right, you guys, and I hope that you guys have fun. We're going to have fun with it. We're going to whatever with it. We got some fun experiences, and that's pretty much it, you guys. What do you mean it? We're starting. I'm already doing my exit.
It feels like too much work already.
Yeah, dude. It's Labor Day. I don't want to work too much. No, you guys, listen. I hope that you guys had a great Labor Day weekend, and that you had a safe weekend, and we're here for you. It's Monday. It's Labor Day, and boom, buddy. Let's do it.
Please take your seats. School is now in session.
Homeschooled Podcast.
Homeschool.
The Homeschooled Podcast. Why? Because he was homeschooled.
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I don't want to do that at all. That fan feels good, dude.
Yeah, you must
I'm
be
over there sweating on the other side all the time.
lucky over there with a fan. Why don't I have my fan?
You don't have it?
No. It's
you can tilt it towards you a little bit.
No,
you can tilt
it's
it towards
okay.
you a little
take
bit.
It. I was in front
Welcome
of
back to the Homeschool Podcast, you guys. We're going to talk about some jobs today, all right? I've had a lot of jobs, dude.
Me too.
I'm one of those dudes that, like, you went to college. I didn't go to college, bro. I've had jobs from, like, being a little kid, chores.
Yeah, dude, that was too. I was working as soon as I got into high school. I was working
all the way to. I did like little odd jobs for people and shit like that. So I'm gonna start off taking you way back.
Oh boy,
taking you way back. Some of my first jobs were gardening. What are you laughing at?
Well, like when you say gardening, I'm not thinking landscaping. I'm thinking you just like planting daisies, and it's really funny to me.
I've done that too. So I grew up in a building, an apartment building that my parents were the landlords of. So from a young age, I learned how to do everything around the building. Like, when I was a teenager, I was fixing like people's toilets and stuff, or just doing like little handiwork or jobs around. And then my parents were always doing the landscaping themselves, and I would, so I actually did learn how to plant like little flowers and shit and do all this shit. And when I was a teenager, guys, you start to get to an age where you want to buy stuff, and your parents start to go like, "Listen, you're old enough that you got to work for it." I mowed lawns. A lot of people did that. I think a lot of people had a paper route. Did you have a paper route?
No, but I used to help my friend on his, and
Oh,
he
really?
never gave me money. And
He never gave you money?
No, he didn't. I just went with him.
You just wanted to just accompany him?
Yeah, I just went with him because we were hanging out after school.
That's cool. I mean, he's doing a job, but you get to bring your family with you.
You know what else was a big thing back east was shoveling driveways. Shoveling snow in the winter. I mean, because
Would you do that?
I would, yeah. I've done that before.
Would they give you 10, 20 bucks?
15, it doesn't matter.
Everybody throw you a little something?
You got to do your own negotiation.
Yeah.
Be like, Jesus Christ, Fred. Like, your driveway's fucking
Yeah.
twice the size, 3 times the size as the last guy. I'm going to charge you more.
Yeah.
He gave you $10. I'm like, yeah, but Jesus Christ, come on.
So, it started with my grandmother's lawn. It started there because there was a time where like my grandparents, when I was a teenager, my grandparents were a little old to do it themselves because my grandfather used to garden all the time by themselves, and then they got a little too old, and then one of my uncles was kind of like more taking care of the house, and as far as like financially. And then, he had a gardener, and, I come from an Italian family, bro. Everybody looks out for each other. I was one of those things I hit up my uncle. I was like, yo, man, like, I'm trying to make some money. And I'm like, why don't you fire those gardeners, and I'll do it. And he was just like, you want to do it? All right, you'll do it. And he's like, I fired the gardeners,
You dick.
Yeah. I'm taking their jobs.
You just created like a villain that's going to come back and haunt you
I
later in
know,
life.
right? And you know what's funny? I used to do this dumb joke when I was first starting stand-up, but I used to get laughs, okay? I used to get laughs, and it wasn't a true story, but it was just a joke that I thought of, and I was like, how can I place this in a scenario? And I placed it in me mowing lawns. So it was a story about me mowing lawns as a job when I was a kid. And I remember it was Halloween, and I was mowing this guy's lawn, and I never met him before. Like, I just did, I passed out flyers, and a couple people hired me, so I was doing the guy's lawn, and the guy came out and he was wearing an eye patch, and and I said, I was like, cool eye patch, arr! You know what I mean? And he...
Oh, I remember your punchline for this. I remember.
Because this is like when I first started,
I
dude. I was doing
remember.
this dumb joke, and I go, I didn't realize that he wore the eye patch all the time, like
Yeah.
not just because it was Halloween, like
Yeah.
he was blind in one eye, and I was just like, oh man, I'm sorry. Like, should I just mow this side of the lawn over? Like, it
Yeah.
was so dumb, dude. But I got that from like mowing lawns, and then I did a bunch of people's lawns and stuff, and then I did dog walking.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've talked about that on here before. There was this one guy's house that I used to walk his dog, and I got that full access to the house. I go up in his apartment, and there's nobody there but the dog, and I walk the dog, I do my job, and I pick up the poop and shit. So I got paid, but I'd hang out in his house a little bit, because like part of it was like, hey, spend some time with the dog too, feed him, water, pet him and stuff. So I hang out with the dog, but I was just up there for like 2 hours at a time, and I found the dude's porn. I found the dude had like VHSs of porn, and I just would fucking watch those things in his house, dude.
Dude, I found my dad's porn growing up. I'm like, that was one of the things.
That's creepy.
Because I used to have a joke about that when I first started stand up. Like, when we found my dad's
finding
porn before
porn
that,
in the woods?
we used to find it in the woods.
Yeah, that was a good joke.
Until I was like 8 years old, that's where I thought porn came from. It was like just like this magical little sex bush.
That's a funny joke, dude.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I found this guy's VHS. He had like he had a small collection, so I had watched like the same ones like over and over again. Because I was a dog walker for a couple of years, and he also had like Penthouse and Playboy magazines and shit. And he had like 3 VHSs of porn and 1 Eddie Murphy Live on Sunset. No, that's Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor.
He uses Richard Pryor as the warm up for the porn.
And I watched that one too, and then I go
Okay.
and watch the porn, and then I think that he caught on because I didn't think that he ever really watched them because they're like in the back of a closet. So I think that he knew because it was always in a different spot, and he started hiding them. And he started, like
he knew you were.
he knew I was watching,
he knew
dude,
it.
and he didn't want to like confront me or make it awkward. It's like this teenager, he's not gonna be like, "Bro, did you jerk off in my house?" So he started putting them in by the way, like imagine you're a teenage boy and you find like access to a private house where there's porn,
Yeah.
and then for a couple of years, that's your shit. And then imagine you go in there one day and they're gone. Like your world is upside down, dude.
Yeah.
And I was looking all over for him. Then I realized that he put them in this cabinet that had a lock.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, this motherfucker. So I figured out. So I just pulled the cabinet away from the wall. And I got it from the back. And I was still watching him. And this dude couldn't do a fuck about it, dude. Fucking crazy. That's my childhood, like, odd jobs and stuff. So now let's get into real jobs.
Dude, my first official job, I smoked weed with a cop.
That's not, they pay you for that?
No, I was paid, but it
Okay.
wasn't for smoking pot with a cop. I used to work at this place called Mad Maggie's. It was a pool billiards. They had like 40 pool tables, but I was hired as the pizza cook. It was an awesome high school job. I think about this all the time because they kept on selling off sections of that place and making it smaller and smaller over the years.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't even exist. It's just like a strip mall. And but anyway, I was a pizza cook there, slinging pizzas, and I loved that job because it was like the lowest amount of responsibility.
How old were you?
I was 15.
Okay.
I think 15 or 16. I think
Already a pothead.
when you were no, I wasn't even smoking weed yet. When you were legally allowed to work. Yeah, when you were legal, I forget, it was that age. But anyway, so that place would get so busy on Friday and Saturday nights that they every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night they had a cop detail there. Because it was a big place and like fights would break out and stuff, but it was such an awesome place to work. But the pizza, they used to do a free pizza for every hour of pool that you bought. So I was making 100 pizzas a night, dude, no joke. And so as soon as the kitchen was off at 11, I had like basically an hour and a half to clean the kitchen before they close up for the night. And so usually, I mean, after I was working there for a couple of years, I would, like, as soon as 11 o'clock hit, and this is after I started smoking weed, I would turn off the oven, and right next to the kitchen was the door to go out into the back alleyway, which, like, nobody could go back there, because it wasn't, like, a regular alley. It was weird. It wasn't even for cars to drive down. It was, like, a walking space behind the building.
Okay.
And I would go, as soon as I would go back there, and I would smoke weed, and then I would be stoned and just clean the kitchen. It would take me, like, 2 seconds to clean the kitchen. And so I remember going back there, and because the bartender was like, "Oh, dude, I'll be back there in a minute. I'll fucking smoke weed with you." I'm like, "All right, cool." And so I go back there, and I left the little rock wedged in the door so it wouldn't close because there was no door handle. So if it closed, closed. And all of a sudden, like, I see a shadow coming in the door, and I had already started smoking. I was like, and then all of a sudden, I see a shadow coming out. That was the bartender, and it was the cop on detail, and he opens up the door.
Did you shit?
Oh, my dude, I was so nervous, right? He comes out, and he sees what I'm doing. I'm like, and I quickly had the bowl behind me, and I'm like, hold
Way
my
more
breath.
obvious.
Yeah, and then he just kicks out the rock, and he closes the door, and he walks up to me. I'm like, and I blew it out because I couldn't hold it anymore. And he goes, "Give me that bowl." And he goes, give me that. And so I'm like, "I'm sorry." And he just takes it. He goes, "You tell anybody about this."
No way.
And he just like fucking hit it up.
And now
I'm
you're
just
telling
like,
everybody.
Yeah, now I'm telling everybody. Yeah, I think that guy was demoted from a detective to a regular cop because he was like sneaking drugs out of the fucking But anyway, and so like
that was his punishment, was that route.
Yeah, and so we were smoking, and then he's just like, "Man, is the kitchen closed?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, I want some wings." I'm like, "I'll turn the fryer back on for you, bro." I'm like, "But you closed the door. We got to walk all the way around the building." He's like, "Oh, shit, okay. Wait, we can't both walk out there at the same time."
That's hilarious. How old was this guy?
Oh, man, dude, he's had to been in his 40s or 50s.
Really?
Yeah, he was an older cop.
How old is he now, would you say?
I don't fucking know, dude. But anyway, like, he's just like, "All right, I'll go up first, and then you go." I'm like, "Okay," but like count to like 15, and I'm just like, "This is so full." Like, you're the cop. Why are you nervous?
Count to 15,
Yeah,
dude.
and-
That'd be a funny movie.
Yeah, right. It was so funny, but yeah, that was it. That place was awesome, though. Like, I eventually worked my way up to manager, but I even when I was a manager,
I eventually worked my way up to
it was-
the cop.
It
that
was
gets
shift supervisor, so I had the keys to the place, and I would have to open it up, or I would close it.
Yeah.
It was like that adolescent job is when you didn't have to pay rent, so you didn't care about how many hours you worked. But I would work all the time because I wanted some money. I would spend my check as soon as I got it.
Yeah,
I
of
never
course.
sa- I
You know
never
how it
saved
is when you're a
that.
kid,
I never
too.
saved that. But yeah, that was cool.
That's funny, man.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you ever failed a drug test to work?
no.
I have.
Yeah.
It was to work at my dad's company.
Why'd he make you take a drug test?
He didn't. He worked for Gillette.
Oh, he didn't own the company.
He
Gotcha.
didn't own the company, but he worked there. It was at Gillette, and I
He
was
worked
gonna-
for Gillette.
Yeah, I was gonna be working there in the summer, fixing air conditioners in the maintenance department. Cause
Wait, you mean the Gillette Stadium?
No, like
Oh.
Gillette, the company that
Oh,
makes
okay.
the razor blades.
It probably wasn't called Gillette Stadium back then, huh?
I think it was just Foxborough Stadium.
Okay.
But yeah, I would. He got my brother a job there before, and my brother told me, "Oh, they drug test." And then I remember right when I graduated high school, my dad was gonna get me and my friend a job, but what they did is they did it through a temp agency, so they didn't drug test, and so we're just like, "Phew, we're good." So me and my friend, and that's a whole other story I won't even get into. That was crazy. But then after that, when I was in college, I had to. My dad was like, "Oh, you're gonna be working this summer at Gillette," and I'm just like, "Fuck, they're gonna drug test," and I'm not gonna be like, "Dad, I can't work there. I'm gonna smoke weed."
Yeah.
And so it's just like, man, I'll stop for a little bit, and then I bought that shampoo. There was like these companies at the time that it was like passyourdrugtest.com or something like that. You could get because they were the hair follicle test, bro. The hair follicle tests.
Okay.
It was that was like it's not fucking pee in a cup. They're cutting your hair and
Is
melting
that what
it down.
Gillette was gonna do?
Yeah, that's what they did.
They took your hair?
They cut hair from my armpit. Right? It was so bad. I was so nervous. I remember because I thought it was gonna pass because I thought that shampoo was gonna work, right? And it didn't. Of course it didn't.
How much was the shampoo?
Oh, I fucking forget. It was like $100 or something like that. It was stupid. But anyway, I remember. Finally, I got the call. I was sitting at home and I was waiting for the call to see if and the nurse calls that was doing the stuff. And she goes, "Is this Kevin Lyons?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she started listing out all the information. It's like, "All right, I just want to let you know that you tested positive for marijuana." And I was just like, "Well, I mean, I was
It's like, no, I want to let you know I tested positive for marijuana.
I was just like, I have friends in college, and I was around it." And she goes, Kevin. It was embedded in your hair follicles, and there was a significant amount. That's what she said.
Ooh.
And I was just like, fuck. And then she goes, "I also understand that your father works for Gillette." And I go, "Yeah." I goes, "Well, I guess his department is probably going to get a call from us pretty soon saying that you're unsuitable to work for Gillette." And then I was just like,
Did they call
and
him?
she goes, "So you might want to give him a call before we do." And so I'm like, "Okay, thanks." I'm like, and I hung up the phone. And as soon as the phone was hung up, the phone rang, and it was my dad.
They already called them.
No, they didn't. They
Oh.
hadn't. And so, oh, dude, it was the worst. It was the fucking worst.
So how did you tell them?
He just goes, I didn't even have to. He goes, "Did you get the call yet from the?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well," I'm like, "I tested positive." That's all I said. And there was this long sentence I could just hear. Like, "For what?" And I was just like, "Shit." I'm like, "From marijuana." And then like, he had said, "I've never been as disappointed
Oh,
in you as I
man.
am right now." Click. And I was just like, fuck, because at that moment we were also rebuilding our front porch. So it's not like I could just avoid my dad. I was like literally gonna be working with my dad right after work, and it was me, my dad, and my brother rebuilding the front porch. And I remember he wouldn't even talk. He would talk to me through my brother. He goes, "Hey Paul, you want to tell the fucking pothead to pass me the hammer?" I was just like, it was bad, dude. I remember the next morning it was a crack of dawn, fucking door bursted open, just literally dragged me out of bed. It's like, "Get get your fucking ass out of bed, go outside and find a fucking job. Dude, it was awful.
Wow.
It was bad. And then I went out and I got a job that was going to pay me more than.
But they didn't make you take a drug
It's
test.
fucking TGI Fridays. They're going to be paying me more than.
Well,
that
it's
fucking...
still embarrassing because he worked there.
Yeah,
for him, it's embarrassing.
that's what I mean. Like, I'm telling the story not to like. It was a stupid thing I did. Like, I should have right up front. I'm like, hey, Dad, I'm not.
I mean,
gonna
today
pass
everyone
drug
would
test.
just go like, it's just pot. But it was like,
Yeah, I mean, it was worse because that guy, like my dad made a lot of good points. Is like, that guy wasn't hiring anybody or even looking at anybody else for the summer
yeah,
because he thought I was gonna work there.
damn.
It was bad. It was fucking. I felt so awful. I still feel awful to this day. But ever since then, my dad cracks jokes about it.
Oh,
like,
really?
If there's any type of plant, he goes, "Are you gonna fucking smoke it?"
Really?
Yeah.
He still does that?
Yeah, he still does that.
Does he know you smoke now?
I mean, dude, I took a drug test. He's not oblivious to it, Of
Yeah.
course. My
But
phone
he's not a
company's
big
name is
smoker,
called
huh?
Too High McFly.
Yeah.
Of course.
But he's not a big smoker.
No, he smokes cigars,
Uh-huh.
but he doesn't smoke weed at all.
Yeah. Cigars are so unhealthy for you.
Yeah, and he found my cigarettes once when I was smoking cigarettes too. That was worse too. Oh man.
Were you a teenager?
Yeah, when I was a teenager.
Dude, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear it, but like, I'm kind of glad that your dad was that way, and just like it was also really about like you need to get a job. Like people aren't like that with their kids anymore, and it's like that's why kids are little freaking fucks, dude.
Well, I tried to tell my dad that I didn't want to work there. I said I didn't want to work at the same place as you. I'm like, there's nothing personal. It's just like that's what that's what I was trying to say because like I didn't want to because I knew I was gonna have to take
That's
that drug
funny.
test. I wasn't gonna get away with working through the temp agency this time.
Yeah, like Dad, I can't help you work on the porch because I'm not gonna pass the test.
Yeah. Pretty much. But it was one of those things that I just like, even thinking about it, I do cringe, even though I'm laughing telling the story.
Yeah.
I do. It was an awful.
Well, I'm sure at the time it wasn't fucking funny.
No, dude, it was awful. But I mean, my dad, he's like this guy that he'll yell at you the worst way. Worst way, but usually he'll only do it once, and then the rest, and then like after half a day or a day or two, he cracks jokes to you about it. That's what it is. But he's so scary. I think he gave me fucking PTSD growing up.
Yeah.
The way he used to, he was a huge fucking scary Irish dude, and he would
Dude,
have
I got
temper.
PTSD for my dad for
fuck
sure. Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, bro, my dad was like fucking like that too. He was. I have memories that I never forgot that were so traumatizing that I've even like had bits about him before.
Yeah.
Because I remembered it so clearly. Why do you remember it so clearly? Because it was fucking. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. Of course, the bit you can't tell that I was really that upset at the time because it's a bit.
Yeah.
But like, the reason I remember is because it was just like so traumatizing. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, I was the same way. But let's talk about funny things about work.
Sorry,
'cause
yeah,
now,
this is not
now
about-
we're going real dark.
It's not Father's Day. It's Labor Day.
Yeah.
I didn't do the restaurant business. I remember when I wanted to get a job. I got a real job when I was 18. I'm like, okay, I gotta go get a real job. Okay. So I remember. By the way, I was already dating my first wife when I was 17. We had just started dating.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and she was older than me. So it was really tough dating someone older than you and then never having money to go out.
Yeah.
And when you guys go out, I can't buy food or movies. So I was like, as soon as I turned 18, I was like, I got to get a job. So I just passed out resumes and went to every place. Dude, up and down Ventura.
I love how you passed out resumes to what? You didn't have an official job.
I'm sorry, not pass out resumes. I would go to a
application.
place and say, like,
Yeah.
are you guys hiring? Can I have an application to everywhere?
Yeah.
I did Blockbuster, didn't get hired there. They didn't even, they were just like, we weren't hiring. Right now where we live, the urgent care on Fulton and
Yep.
that was Blockbuster.
Yep.
And it's so funny that like you've lived here for so long now and now you know all these streets. It's like, dude, like that's where I was fucking growing up, dude. Like that's where I would walk. I walked down Ventura, Second Spin, where we always talk about that awesome like record store we used to buy old movies and records. And dude, I went in there. I'm an 18-year-old kid. I went in there. There used to be like Orange Julius next to it. I went in there. I went everywhere, restaurants, any store. I was just up and down Ventura Boulevard. I go today. I'll do Ventura Boulevard. tomorrow. I remember one time my parents were even like coming home from like the market or something. They drove by me on Ventura, and they were just like, "You want to ride back?" And I was like, "Nope, I'm gonna keep going."
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go the next day. I'm gonna hit the mall. So then I hit the mall, and then at the same time, the one mall job and Orange Julius. I think it was Orange Julius, or it was like Orange something, like a little sandwich shop on Ventura.
Yeah.
I don't think it's there anymore. Called me at the same time, and Guess, the clothing store Guess in the mall called me, and they're like, do you want to do an interview at like 9 a.m. in the mall? It's like a group interview. Have you ever done a group interview?
No.
So weird, dude.
Of course.
So fucking weird. And of course, a retail job would do that. So and then at the same time, the little cafe called me, and they were like, I would fill out the application, bro. I was good, bro. I fucking filled it out, and they would always give you like a little space to make a comment, or something like that, and I would put like, willing to work hard and blah blah blah. I fill out this whole thing, and then like the lady called me that owned the cafe, and she was just like, "We really like on your application that you said that you're ready to work and you're willing to work hard." She's like, "We like it," and then I go, "Well, I already." I already take, I got an interview at Guess in the mall, and she was just like, "You want to do retail? You can do restaurant. Restaurant business is really good to go into." She's like, "You start at the bottom, you work your way up. You'll be a server, you'll make tips eventually, maybe be a manager or something like that." Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'll keep all the options open, And I went to the Guess one, and the Guess one I did a group interview. Group interviews are weird. If you don't know what a group interview is, you go to the interview, you're not one-on-one with the interviewer, you're in a group of everyone that they're interviewing for the job all at once.
Yeah.
So we're all just sitting there, and it's like 8 of us, and they took
you all
us up.
fight each other for the job.
Yeah. No, they take us up to the cafeteria in the mall, in the food court, and they were like, okay, that's where the interview took place. We sat at a table with all of us around.
Oh, jeez.
The Office, when he takes them all to the mall, the girls, and he buys them all something.
Yeah.
It's that mall.
Yeah.
And it's that table. That's where we're all sitting, is right there. So we're right there, and they're just, one by one, they ask you questions, and then it goes around, "What about you? Why do you think that you'd be good for this job?" Every chick, "I'm a PayPal person." Like how many times we're going to hear the same answer in a row and stuff like that. And I got hired with a couple people from my group. Like they hired like 3 from the group.
Yeah.
And I remember when they're like, "Okay, guys, so you probably had some questions for us." You remember how interviewers always do that? "What are the questions you have for us?" And I'm just like, "Do I got the job?" That's the only question I have for you.
When do we get paid?
When do we get paid? How much do we get paid? And do we have the job? That's the only question. But anyway, so they go, "You guys we're hiring at $8 an hour." And I remember all of us looking around in the group at each other going like, "Oh my God, $8 an hour." Like it was so good. Because I think minimum wage at the time was like 6 something.
I remember hearing people getting paid $12 an hour, and I was just like, "Oh shit,
that's money,
they're getting
bro."
$12 and I think I started, my job was $7 an hour.
Yeah.
I was getting, oh my God, they were fucking getting so much work
and so because Guess offered me the $8 an hour, I was just so like, "Oh my God, that's more than I thought I was going to get paid," that I turned down the cafe one, and I worked. So my whole I went in the retail business, dude. So I worked Guess, I worked Bloomingdale's, I worked Sunglass Hut, and then Aldo Shoes.
You were all over that mall.
I was all in one mall.
Do you think they would all look at each other and just be like, "Oh, he went over there"? And then get mad. Everybody always leaves us for the Sunglasses Hut. I guess we're not cool.
No, dude. Well, Sunglass Hut was the coolest job, bro. That was the coolest job. But I was working at Guess one day, and one of the corporate ladies from Bloomingdale's walked by, and she saw something that she liked, and she came in, and I was helping her out. I didn't know she worked at Bloomingdale's, and I just helped her out and stuff like that. She was just like, "Your customer service is so on it." And she's like, "Come work for Bloomingdale's," and she goes, I forget what it was, but I think she was like, "We'll pay you $10 an hour." Oh shit! And I was like, "Hell yeah!" And I went over there, and I worked at Bloomingdale's for probably a week or 2, and I was just like, I can't do this. Bloomingdale's was where souls die. Okay, dude. Bloomingdale, you had to wear a suit every day, and I was having fun at the department, not the department store. I was having fun in the little store that I worked at. You know, young people come in and they try on new fashion clothes, and you talk with young people, and it's easy to sell.
Yeah.
You know, I had fun selling. I've always been good at sales, and it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, people don't understand that, like, how you be a good salesman. You have fun, and you talk with people like they're your friend. You know what I mean? And that's what I would do. And I remember one time, dude, this one of the managers and another sales lady. But this is how I became a salesperson. I was hired for stockroom at Guess, by the way. Okay, undo boxes. So in the group interview, they hired like me and another dude for stockroom, and then they hired like another chick for sales. Okay, so I was in the stockroom and stuff like that, and I walked by like outside in the store, and the manager and the sales lady were trying to sell this girl this outfit, and she's trying it on in the mirror, and they're all like, "Yeah, it's so good on you," you know what I mean, stuff like that, and they're all just like, this girl's like, whatever like that, and I walked by, and I didn't, no one even asked me, and I went to the lady, I went, "I don't like that on you." And the lady goes like, "Really?" And she's like, "Why?" I was like, "I don't know. It's just not flattering. Like it just." And I went back in the break room, and the manager and that chick came back, and they ripped me an asshole, bro. They were like, "We're trying to sell, and you fucking told her that it doesn't look good on her and shit like that. Like, what the hell's wrong with you?" Right? And then I'm like, I was sitting there. I'm doing the boxes, all mad, and then they came back a couple minutes later, and they're like, "She wants to talk to you." And I'm like, "Who?" And they're like, "The lady who was trying on clothes." And I go, "Okay." And I go back out there, and she goes, "You're the only one that I can trust that's going to tell me the truth, that you, like, you know, not trying to sell me anything."
Yeah.
She was like, "How does this look?" And I just sat with her through all the outfits and watched her try it on, and then I was just like, and then she ended up buying like more than the one outfit they were trying to push on her.
Yeah.
She ended up buying like a whole wardrobe. I eventually started doing sales, and I became the number 3 salesman in the Guess region, like in Guess, bro. And they didn't even pay commission, dude. It was just the hourly.
Yeah.
And I got, I remember they were like, "Oh, you came number 3. Your prize is a watch." So I got to pick my watch
To
from.
make sure you get to work on time.
Yeah. Well, Guess had like the random watches that were like $90.
Yeah.
And then they had like the Guess collection, which was like really expensive watches. They were like, I was like, they had one for $600. I was like, "Give me that one."
Oh,
That's the most expensive watch they have.
And you got it?
I still have it.
Oh, nice.
I still have it. It still works too. I think I just got to put a battery in it. It's nice, dude. It's like all rose gold. It's super heavy. It's badass. But anyway, yeah. And then I did it like twice in a row, and I got like 2 watches. The next one, I got the $300 one, which was the next one down. And yeah, dude. And then the Bloomingdale's lady came in, and I was super helpful with her. And then she offered me the job. And then it was just so boring. Like, there's no selling. You just stand in Bloomingdale's. People just browse around by themselves. When was the last time you went to Bloomingdale's and someone came up to you and was like, "Do you need help with anything?" They don't do that.
No.
It's so many different departments. All you're doing is just sitting there, and like, there's not even employees to talk to. That's fun. You're just there by yourself. And then, like, dude, when I quit Bloomingdale's, I didn't even tell anybody. I just left. I just walked out. Bloomingdale's made us leave out the back door every time because we had to go through the metal detectors.
To make sure you ain't stealing
Make sure you're not stealing. So employees were never allowed to walk out the front door. You walk out the front door, automatic fire. You have to walk out the back door where there's a metal detector, so to make sure you're not stealing. Guess made us pat us down. I wonder if they still do that. Guess was mandatory. Every employee gets patted down when they go on their break or when they leave for the day.
It's like those crack houses where all the people they have to work in their underwear so they don't fucking steal.
Dude, the girls, they'd look in your purse, and the guys, I'd have to lift up my pants to show my ankles, and I let my manager touch my arms every time I left the store. That's was mandatory rules.
So weird.
And then, but when Bloomingdale's, when I just quit, bro, I didn't even tell anybody. I just walked out the front door. I didn't even tell anybody I quit. That's how like little communication there was in Bloomingdale's. Like, there's no fun.
I did that.
And dude,
once
they
for a
didn't
job.
realize that I quit for like 2 weeks.
Dude, I have the same type of story. Remember, we're talking about Blockbuster. There was one in Glendale. I remember right before I moved over into Sherman Oaks, I was living in Glendale. I'm like, man, I need some extra cash. And so I was just going to go work at Blockbuster because, I love movies. And I remember going in there, and the guy was, I think I even remember telling you this story, but I go in. I'm like, oh hey man, are you guys hiring? It's like we are. I'm like, great. Can I fill out an application or take my resume? He goes, you gotta go do that
It's online. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but
They told me that too.
I'm right here. So and it's just like, oh, dude, I'll tell you what, dude, I'll schedule you for an interview right now, but just go home and fill out that thing. I'm
Right.
like, all right, whatever. I went through like 3 or 4 different interviews, and each person, I swear to God, was getting younger and younger than me. As a manager, it's like, so why do you want to work at Blockbuster?
Yeah.
You know. And then I was watching all these stupid like training videos in the back. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is so easy.
Yeah.
And I remember I figured out how to do everything in there within the first 15 minutes of being trained.
Yeah.
Right. And they're still like, oh, dude, wait a couple more weeks. I'll teach you how to use this computer. I'm like, that was designed in 1974, bro. I can fucking figure that out right now. Just let me do it, you know. And they would just kept on keeping me on training pay instead of like I was doing everything. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why am I still training? And so I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just not gonna go in anymore. And they called me for like a month. Just saying, are you gonna come in today?
Oh, really?
Oh, I do have to write you up. I do. I'm like, dude, I haven't been there in like 3 or 4 weeks. Why are you still calling? Fuck this.
Wow.
Man. Yeah,
we'll
dude.
have to write you up. Like, bro, write it up.
No,
Like-
it wasn't. I was getting voicemails. I wasn't even responding to them. But it was like for like weeks and weeks after. I just like.
And that's exactly why Blockbuster's out of business. Is their voicemails that they used to leave for the customers. I used to get voicemails all the time. Your videos due back.
Yeah.
And that's exactly
So
why you guys are
dumb,
gone.
man. I just can't believe how stupid that system was.
Yeah.
It was such a dumb system.
Yeah.
I'm like, they wouldn't even let me put videos back. I literally had to stand behind the counter and just do what the dude told me. I'm like, well, all these videos are back, and I know where they are. I can put, dude, this is retail. It's more difficult than that. I'm like, people return videos, and I put them back where they fucking got
But
them.
they got to scan them. After
After they're scanned, and you
Yeah.
put them on the card, it's like, you got to do it in a certain way. I'm like, bro, I know where all these movies are. I come here all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I know where all these movies are. I remember one time, it's just like, oh, we don't do late fees anymore. I'm like, oh, that's great. So people can just keep the movies. And they're like, no, the restocking fees.
The
I'm like,
restocking
hold on a
fee.
second. All right, so somebody rents a video, goes, yeah. They're supposed to bring it back on Tuesday. Yep. They don't bring it back on Tuesday. Nope. And you charge them a fee. Yep. And that's for being
Yeah.
late. No, it's a restocking fee. But you're charging them a free for not
Yeah.
bringing a video back on
That's
time.
exactly
a
how they
late
tricked
fee.
everybody.
Yeah, no, it was so stupid.
No more late fees.
I think that was the thing, because I got in the argument with the manager about that. I think that was the thing that made me just leave and not come back.
Oh, really?
I just left. I'm like, fuck this job. I just like, this is
And I think the
ridiculous.
restocking fee was more expensive. Like, they upped it
Yeah.
than the actual late fee.
Yeah.
I think it was like 2 something instead of the 1 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. The way that the corporate runs things is so out of touch. It's like, no wonder you guys have to fucking worry about theft. You guys are so stupid. You know? Corporate is so stupid.
Yeah, of course they
Like,
are.
these guys go to college. They've never fucking learned how to live in the real world and how to, like the thing with the lady, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you look so good in that. Like, she's gonna believe you.
Mhm.
You are gonna sell it to her, you know? But
Speaking of corporate, actually, there was one time where corporate was cool and a manager was a dick. When I was working at TGI Fridays, I remember because I was a host and I was getting paid way more hourly, so I didn't care if I was busy or not. But anyway, you would always have to wear a shirt and tie. They had to be certain colors. Yeah, like a white, black or red button-down shirt, and the same thing with like the tie. And I remember, like, it would get so hot in the summers. I remember the owner of the building and the franchise of that TGI Fridays said that it was just like, oh, you know what? Let's let these guys wear polos in the summer at least, but they have to be like red, white,
Sure,
or black
same colors,
polos.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, they still have to wear pants, but they can wear the polos instead of the shirt and tie. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm like, this is great. And this is the guy who owns the building and the franchise. He was never really there, but I remember him saying that and like telling the general manager. And I remember one shift, it was Friday night, and I was excited. And this new manager comes on, and is like, "You can't wear that." I'm like, the owner of the store just said that. I mean, I can wear the polos. I literally went out and bought polos specifically for this. He's like, "Nope, you're gonna have to go home and change." The guy was just being a dick to be a dick, right? And so I just left, and I didn't go back. For
Oh,
the rest.
really?
I'm like, if I go home, I'm not gonna come back. For the rest of the night. This is ridiculous. I mean, like, there's only a couple more hours left in my shift.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go drive there, change, and come back. And so, like, dude, I was so pissed off. I called the general manager. I went home that night. I called the general manager, and he was pissed pissed off. They transferred that manager to another
really?
place. Yeah, they were pissed off. They were like, "What the hell is that? Like the point of that? Like we said that you could do
Yeah.
that, and it was just ridiculous."
And they didn't have a hostess for a couple hours.
No, well, they had two. They had a couple. I
Stupid.
was supposed to close, and he thought I was coming back, but I just left, and I just called the manager. I left him a message. So I'm like, "Fuck that."
I got into it bad with one of my managers at Guest, dude. Like, when you were working the register, you had to like not let anyone else touch your register.
Yeah.
Because if any money was missing, you were accountable for it.
Yep.
And this dude, like this manager, one time went over to my register, just fucking opened it and started like, "I need change from here." Blah blah blah. And so I fucking was like, "Dude, don't fucking touch my register." And I'm like, "Because if there's money missing, let's say you stole it, they're gonna blame me." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, "I needed to do this," and I was just like, "Bro, don't." We got to do like a huge fight, and we had to go in the back room. We fucking were arguing and shit like that. And he was like, "It doesn't matter. I'm your fucking manager, and I do what I fucking want," and shit like that. I was like, "Yeah, well, that's the corporate policy that they fucking brainwash us, is not let anybody touch your register, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "We're supposed to know this. It's in the handbook." It's fucking bad. I got written up for it though because the GM actually took his side. She's like, "Well, it doesn't matter. He's your manager, and you can't talk to him like that." Fucking dude, this is California fucking mall shit, bro.
Have you ever been fired?
Yeah, once.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been fired.
They called it let go,
Yeah.
but Aldo Shoes, which was like the last retail job I ever had, they let me go. It was like my first trip to Boston. I was working and it's so crazy. My last shift, dude, I sold more than I've ever sold like the whole like year I worked there. It was crazy. I was like, I did so good. I would never think in a billion years they would fire me. And I went on like my first Boston trip when my friend moved back, and I was like helping him move and stuff. And that's like the first time I went, and then I came back, and they were like, I was about to clock in. They're like, "We're gonna talk to you," and she had an envelope, and I'm like, "What's that?" She's like, "Your check." Like
That's
your last
funny.
check. And I was like, "What?" And it was basically like I was a manager there at Aldo, and then like they hired another manager who ended up being the assistant manager, and she kind of took my job because I was like going for that one. And anyway, we didn't get along so well, and she told them that I sexually harassed her, which like I
What?
didn't even, you know me, dude.
yeah.
I didn't do
Yeah.
that. Because in Aldo in the stock room, you got to be on a ladder to like go up and get like the shoes from the shelf and stuff. And she said that when she went up on ladders that I would like be under the ladder looking at her. I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like I never even did anything." And she said I checked her out. I was like, "It's fucking crazy." And they're like, "Well, we're not gonna say like, you know, she's a liar, you're a liar. We're just gonna like let you go. And here's your last check. It's not working out." You know what I mean? So yeah.
I wonder if you probably could have sued.
I probably could have, right? But
Yeah.
you know what, dude? Everything works out for the best because I ended up like just going back to Boston, and I stayed there for a while, and then, and then I went on unemployment, and I just became a comic. That was like right when I became a comic.
Nice.
Um,
And then that's when I met you.
Yeah, and I got really upset with Guest with the whole like, you know, the manager that I didn't get along with and stuff like that. That I eventually started to look for something else, and I started walking around the mall on my break, going like, "Who's hiring? You know, I have so much retail experience, I can just leave." And I went into the Sunglass Hut, and the Sunglass Hut dude was fucking awesome, dude. That was like my savior.
Yeah.
I walked in there, and then the dude, I'm like, "You guys hiring?" I went in there with my friend Rusty, who I grew up with. We were both looking for jobs at the time. I'm like, "Dude, I want to leave Guest." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a job." I'm like, "Let's go around." We walked in there, like so many stores, and I went into Sunglass Hut, and the dude was just like, "Yeah, man, I'm looking for somebody." And he like took our applications and all this stuff, and he's like, cool, I'll call you guys, stuff like that. And I got a call from him like the next morning, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, like I want to offer you the job." It was like, dude, it was so like, I'd never dealt with anything like this before in a retail store. He was like, "Hey man," he's like, he's the store manager. He's like, "Hey man, it's like it goes like this." He was from Boston. He goes, "Hey man, it goes like this." That's what he says when he answers me. He goes, "I'm gonna hire you. Like I want to hire you." And he goes, "And I can start you out like $11 an hour." And he goes like, "I want you to be my assistant manager. We're looking for an assistant manager right now." He's like, but I gotta get like my boss's, the district manager's approval on it.
Yeah.
So he's like, she wants this other bitch.
Yeah.
And he's like,
wait, is this the guy that we know?
yes.
Okay.
And he's like, she wants this other bitch, and he's like, I fucking want you. And he was like, I had a good vibe from you, bro. Like, you're cool. And I go like, oh, cool. And I even said like, what about my buddy? Like, maybe you can hire him not as a manager, but just as like a regular guy or whatever. He was like, nah, man, I was feeling a vibe with you, dude. And I was like, okay, cool. So I went in there, and he like promised me for the first couple of weeks, like, I'm pushing for you to be the assistant manager, and they ended up hiring the other chick.
Oh, okay.
But I was still like an employee there, which was fine. I still got $11 an hour, and I had so much fun working with him, and we became like best friends, dude. He's like one of my best friends still to this day, and every time I go back to Boston, I stay with him. We've been friends for like 11 or 12 years now. That's how long ago that was. Like really close. Yeah, dude. Like my first week working there, he was like, he was like, hey, I'm having a party this weekend, dude. And I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, you should come by. And I was like, all right, cool, maybe. He goes, what do you mean maybe? Why wouldn't you go to my party? And I'm like, I don't know. I just see what I'm gonna do that weekend. And he's like, bro, your fucking boss throwing a party, you're not gonna go? That's what dude, it was so funny. I went to the party. And he showed up with he came. I called him like on my cell phone, and I was like, "Yo, I'm outside." And he came outside with like no shirt and holding like a pitcher filled with beer, and he was drinking out of that. But it was like a Brita. And he's like, "What up, dude?" And we were just like, "Dude, we had so much fun in Sunglass Hut that." Dude, we used to fucking rip that place off all the time.
Well, it's so awesome, like, when you work at those jobs that are, I mean, it's before you're, like, you have to pay rent, really.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't matter where you worked, as long as you got some money, and it was a cool place to work. But when you're an adult, none of the places you work at are cool because you need to pay rent. You'll just do whatever. Yeah. And I just miss those fucking jobs so much. It's almost like, what was that, American Beauty with Kevin Spacey? Do you remember when he...
I never saw that movie.
You never saw that movie? It's actually pretty good, even though he's like rapey. But he basically started smoking weed because he wanted to bang his daughter's friend, high school friend. And I remember he quit his job, and he what did he do? He blackmailed his boss to continue to pay his salary for a year, and then he quit the job, and he missed having that high school type of life where you just work a shitty job. And he worked at a fast food restaurant, and his wife was a real estate agent. She goes up to the drive-thru, and she goes, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He's just like, "I work here now." She's like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. Dude, it's just so fun. It just reminds me of that. I was just like, I get those feelings all the time. I miss getting that cool job, but like no responsibility. You didn't have to pay rent. You didn't have to pay all these bills.
When you have a fun job, man, you should try as much as you can to have fun. Like they eventually had to install cameras in our store. We had like one of the oldest Sunglass Hut. We didn't even have cameras or anything, and like we had like pretty bad theft. Yeah. And a couple times it was us. Like we would just like, people would come in with like broken sunglasses if they were still under warranty. We would just like, you had to like damage them out, and that's what it was called, damaging them out, and you have to write like a damage ticket, and you put it on the sunglasses, and you keep those in like the damage box. But like no one would come get the damage box for like a year. We just take them at the damage box, and there was like, like a screw missing. We just put the screw. We got like Pradas and shit like that.
Oh my god!
But they had to put cameras in there, and like we knew like the spot, like the blind spot where we can stand, so we'd stand there and text. Yeah. Because we weren't allowed to text, so we'd stand there and text. And then we figured out how to do like playback and slow mo. So we used to. So my buddy would go up to the. You ever go to a Sunglass Hut and like they're down low, right? But they're all kind of at an angle. Yeah. On like those little shelves. He would go up to them and fucking smash them and throw them all, and then we'd go back and watch it in slow motion. Another time, and at this point I'm already like, stand-up comedy's on my radar. Yeah. Chris Titus came in, and he was like, I broke my Oakleys, and I was just like, dude, and I'm trying to find it if it's still under warranty. I was trying to pull up like his address and his phone number and stuff. He was like, dude, I'm on the road all the time. I don't know where I bought those things. And I just was like, you know what, man? Like, I'm a big fan of comedy, bro. I was like, I'm just gonna hook you up. And I gave him I gave him like exactly the same glasses I had him in the store, like brand
Yeah.
new. I just gave it to him. I was like, give me those. And I just put the tag from the new ones on the old ones and put it there like it broke or something.
That's hilarious.
And then Steve Carell came in. And,
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, Steve Carell came in like twice. I used to see him all the time. Actually, when I worked at Aldo, he came into that store too. He was always in that mall. And Steve Carell bought some sunglasses off of me, and then the ones that he was wearing at the time, he just gave them to me like right off his face. He was like, you can have these.
You don't still have those glasses?
Dude, I gave them to my dad, and they were Revos too. Those are $300 glasses. I gave them to my dad. My dad was wearing them for a little while, and then my dog chewed them up. Fucking Steve Carell's glass. What was fucked up too is that Steve Carell returned the glasses that I sold him like the next day. And I felt bad. I was like, I don't have the glasses that you gave me yesterday. He was like, he didn't even like care.
Oh, okay.
He was such a nice guy, dude. He came with his son
course.
one time. He was really cool. I think that's it for that story.
I mean, like, another thing though, like, I work with kids.
Yeah.
I work with kids, and like sometimes they just say some goofy shit. I gotta tell you what happened today.
Okay.
There's this really sweet kid. He's a hi Mr. Kevin, very very polite all the time, and I remember there were it was like the first day of school, and they have like they're all about me, and they're talking about their things, like their favorite things.
I gotta steal this van for a little bit.
And the kid's got a cat, right? And because the kid was just so nice, and you could tell that he's on the spectrum. And his name is Larry, and that just made me laugh so hard. I'm like, who names your cat Larry? But this kid's like, I have a cat. His name is Larry, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is great. I love this kid. But then today, right? There sometimes the kids get pulled for like speech and stuff, and they're sitting with the speech therapist, and they're asking about their there's another therapist that comes in to see them, and she's not coming anymore, and there's a new therapist, and she's like, oh yeah, you the new therapist, his name is Patrick, and this kid just goes, from SpongeBob SquarePants? Like this kid thought a fucking cartoon was gonna come down and teach her shit every week. For real, he was so serious. He's just like, from SpongeBob SquarePants? That Patrick? I'm like, oh my god, it was just so funny. It just made me laugh.
That is funny. No, man, you
always... there was another one last year. I think I told you about. It was really funny. There were these kids that were all this kid all off the wall. I mean, they were like fucking little firecrackers running around. And this kid loved the computer that they would have in the classroom. They have a big Mac computer, right? And the kid loved it when the iTunes was on because you get to pick the songs of the morning, And so he's like, Mr. Kevin. Like, he was having a problem with it. I'm like, he was trying to close it out, but he couldn't close it out, so I was going to minimize it.
Oh, that's right, dude. It's so funny.
And so I minimize it, and when you minimize something, it just goes to the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
And it went, and he just went... And he like looked under the table to see where it went. I just started laughing.
So funny, dude.
Oh my god, so
that's
funny.
A good one.
It was just like automatic reaction. Like he's like, "Way to go!"
It's great when you can have fun at work, man. It's great when you work with a friend, which
Yeah.
I've got to do twice. And so you and I worked together at one job.
A cleaning job.
After we were already started stand up together.
Yep.
So we're a couple open micers. So you worked there first, and then you got me the job.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. Like the cleaning gig was cool because you would have like these 2 or 3 hour cleaning sessions, whether it was like at a business or residential, and they were perfect for actors because like I was doing a lot of acting too, and so like I needed a job that would like let me go to auditions, but at the same time something I wouldn't have to work at night, so I could go do stand-up comedy. And that was like, it was perfect. It didn't pay that great, but I was able to get my rent paid.
Yeah, that was only like $10 an hour or something, or at least that's what I got paid,
I think I was at like 11 or 12. I think I eventually went to 15.
Yeah.
I think it was like $15 an hour, but
and we had to drive all over, dude.
Yeah.
And they didn't even give us gas money. We would often have to go like buy our own cleaning supplies sometimes. Remember, we ran out and we didn't get compensated for that.
Because we're
independent contractors.
We're contractors.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have that stuff for ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just gives us the job and a cut.
But it was fun in the early mornings when we had to go to Patagonia in Pasadena.
Oh yeah, man.
We cleaned the Patagonia store, just vacuum it and stuff.
I really enjoyed that aspect because the people there were cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It almost felt like that high school job I was talking about, where it's just like you had a lot of freedom. You didn't have your boss over your shoulder all the time, and usually your clients were cool. I had a lot of cool. I used to clean Will.i.am studio.
Yeah, I did it with you all the time on Sundays, right?
Oh fuck yeah, man, dude! I've met him before there too. They were really cool down there. I remember going every Sunday morning. I would literally be pushing like beer cans and bottles as I was opening up the door to the studio. I'm like, oh shit, people would be passed out, and they're just like, man, don't even worry about it today. I'm like, okay. And remember that big song they had, like I got a feeling?
Yeah.
They were mixing that in that studio maybe a month before it came out. I remember like they would mix it every Sunday when I was there, and so that was like my mopping song, but it didn't have lyrics for it yet. And I remember I would make up my own lyrics. So I'm like, oh, I kind of like this, and so I was like mopping, and I was like singing, making up my own lyrics. And then like I stopped hearing that song, and I remember driving home one day, and all of a sudden I hear that song come on, and I'm like wait a second, I know this song. Why do I know this song? I'm like, this is my mopping song. And then all of a sudden all the lyrics came. It's like, I got a feeling. I'm like, that's not how the song goes. Okay.
Yeah, I cleaned that one with you a lot
Yeah.
later on, and sometimes we weren't always together. Like sometimes I'd be on my own,
Yeah.
or sometimes I'd be paired up with other people that work for the cleaning company.
Yeah.
And because in the beginning when I first started, I wasn't with you that much, only on easy jobs. I was with remember
David and Vince?
David and
Yeah.
Vince, dude. Those dudes were cool, man.
Yeah, they were cool.
So David and Vince were these guys that were older than us, and they were a couple. These
Yeah.
two dudes, okay? But they were so cool, bro.
Yeah,
and,
they
like,
were awesome.
They trained me, and they were like, I remember like going to like different houses and stuff. Like we cleaned Michael Bublé's house.
Dude,
one
I
time.
did. Did I tell you?
Too?
I smoked weed with him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You
I
didn't
cleaned
know
his
that?
house once too.
Dude, it was fucking crazy.
Because we would get like current clients. Like
Yeah.
there was cool ones where we had. I remember one time like remember one of the producers of the Fear Factor or something like that, like the young dude.
Oh yeah.
He was like never there, but that was an easy one. You and I would clean it, and it was like already clean from like last week because he was like never there.
Yeah.
That was like low key one.
So easy, just like wipe downs and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
the Michael Bublé one was hilarious because I remember it was before he was like mega famous.
Yeah.
But he was still famous because he had that mansion up in the hills. And
Yeah.
I had to go up there, and I remember his assistant answered the door in a towel, and she had like that Australian accent, and I was just like, holy shit. She's like, you can stall at Michael's house. He's gonna come home soon and have a shower. I'm like, okay. And so I mopped up his room and stuff, and I was in his bathroom cleaning floor to ceiling mirrors with the squeegee and
Yeah.
stuff like that. All of a sudden I hear the front door go and open up, and I hear doobie scooby doobie.
He wasn't singing.
Dude, he was singing to himself.
That
the whole
sounds
time.
like a fake story.
No, I'm not fucking lying. I'm not lying. And so and then all of a sudden it just stopped. I hear him go, hello, and I'm just like, this is gonna be really weird if like I don't answer, because he's getting closer and closer to the big bathroom I was in. And so I'm on a ladder. I'm like, hey, and he just comes in and goes, oh hey, what's up? And he goes, you're the cleaner, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm Kevin. He goes, cool, I'm Mike. I'm like, hey Mike. He's like,
Mike.
have you seen my girlfriend? I'm like, is that the Australian girl who answered the door in the towel? He's like, no, that's my assistant. I'm like, oh, I've never seen your girlfriend. I haven't seen her. He's like, oh, cool. All right, man. I'll see you later. And so he just goes back out, and I remember cleaning. And then I was like mopping the floor and buffing the floor because he had these big marble floors, right? And I remember he was in that living room, that big living room with that huge couch, and he was on the couch with his girlfriend, and he's like serenading her, and I'm walking by with the big buffer and shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is so weird. And then eventually, because I was just on that job by myself for a while, and I had to go. I was in his kitchen, and I was cleaning. He had these big, huge stainless steel vents, and they would go. You've seen the stainless steel vents in the kitchens, but they were all up in the ceiling, and I had to clean them all with that that stainless steel
cleaner,
spray cleaner. And then he comes prancing in the kitchen. He's like, doobie scooby dooby doo, dude, the dude's singing all the time. I'm not lying. And he's like, oh, whoa, shit, man. Like, I freaked him out because I was up high. He's just like, I didn't know you guys did that. I'm like, yeah. And he's just talking to me, and he like pulls open one of the drawers, and there's like fucking ounce of weed in there, and he's just rolling a joint, and he's talking to me, and he starts smoking it, and then he's just like,
In the kitchen he smoked it?
Yeah. And then he handed it to me, and I was just like, cool, man. Thanks. He's like, all right, cool. We're going. We have like the MTV award thing tonight, or something like that. He was going to. I'm like, all right. Then I just like quickly.
At the time, you knew he was Michael Bublé, right? Like he was
I knew who
pretty well known already.
But he wasn't like mega famous
Yeah.
like how he was like with the Christmas.
When I first
specials.
cleaned the house and they told me whose house it was,
You
I
were
was
like, who?
I was like, who is that? And they're like, the guy who does all those Christmas songs. And stuff. I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, yeah. I did Clint Eastwood's house once.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Wait, for that company?
Yep. One time. Never did it again. Never did it before that. I did
I
it
don't
with.
thi-
I
that's
did it with.
crazy.
I did it with David and Vince, and or was it? Maybe it was someone else that did it with. And then they, how they tell us like he wasn't there.
Yeah.
They tell us how to like not to like touch mail and stuff and snoop around and see who they are, who the people are. But I saw fucking Oscars on the thing, and I saw the name on it, dude.
Who's I used to do regularly for a little bit, but I never saw him. But I was always in his house. Was Flea. From
Oh
Red Hot
really?
Chili-
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
I actually
Dude, we
used-
did one to Sykes' house. Remember?
Yeah, I remember. Oh no, it wasn't her. It was a house that used to be owned by her, but it was a new client. I mean, it was a new person who lived there, but that house used to be owned by her. But anyway, with the Flea, I used to, dude, because he had a studio. He had two houses. He had one like in Malibu. And that one had a big studio, like in a separate, like little backyard house,
Yeah.
And I remember he had like every bass on the wall, and I'm just like, I made sure that there's no cameras. I picked a couple of them up. I'm like, and then eventually one of the assistants came down like while I was cleaning and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh man, I didn't know he was a drummer too, because he had like a whole bunch of broken drumsticks. He's like, yeah, dude, you can have them. Because the drumsticks are broken. I'm like, nice, yeah.
That's sick, dude.
yeah.
I remember when I did Black Eyed Peas with you. They had a couple of different rooms,
Yeah.
like their own little private rooms and
Yeah.
stuff. Like there was one that was just like a mess, and I saw the surfboard award, the teenage award or whatever. Yeah, we want to hear something else funny, bro. I don't know if I ever told you this before. So, Dave and Vince were pretty fucking cool. They were funny. They made me laugh too. They were training and stuff like that. So like, they always say the funniest things, dude. Like one time, we were cleaning this house, and there was no toilet paper in the bathroom roll.
Yeah.
And then we were looking like in the cabinets where the toilet paper was normally kept and stuff, and they had no toilet paper in the whole house. We were trying to replace it for them, and David and Vince would go. They go, somebody has stinky fingers. I'll never forget that because they made me laugh so hard. And another time, I'd help them make the beds.
Mm-hmm.
And we were making the beds and stuff, and they were telling me stories about this guy's gay. Like they were a gay couple, but they'd be like, this guy's gay, and I'm like, okay. And they're like, sometimes we'll be making the bed, and they'd be like, there'll be shit in the sheets.
Oh.
And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, why? He shits the bed? Like I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, because they fuck in the ass. And he goes, we're gay. He goes, but that was gross.
Oh man,
Those guys are
cleaning-
cool, man.
Yeah, that cleaning gig was cool, but I mean, for a short amount of time, I hated.
I was
that,
like
that shit
sore
used to make,
sometimes when I went home.
It made me so tired.
Dude, do you remember that one house that we did? It was an actor's house after his Halloween party.
Shane West. Yeah.
Shane West's house. We cleaned his house, and he had like a 3-story house.
Dude, it was.
I wish I was
crazy.
at that party.
Yeah, no.
Because we cleaned that house from like 7 a.m.
The people
to
there
like
were really
it was
cool.
like 9 p.m. when we left.
Yeah, because we did. I mean, especially after that huge Halloween party.
Yeah.
But those guys were so.
They were
used
cool.
to just give it. They gave us all the leftover stuff that they weren't gonna have.
but like the whole day was just picking up empty bottles.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
that was
essentially what it was.
like the craziest party I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But good times though.
Did I tell you that? I mean, like one of the. I will still say this is probably the actual coolest job I had, and this was fairly recently, just a couple of years ago with Famous Monsters when we got hired to film for Famous Monsters. I mean, they sent us down to Comic-Con, like for free. We had, like, it was so cool to go there, but I ended up going viral and I didn't even know it. From there, because what we were doing is a lot of. I mean, I was filming a lot of B-roll, like running around with a camera and just filming cool stuff, filming cool people in costumes, and then I would get assigned to go, go interview people on the red carpet, like because I had a press pass.
Yeah.
And so I had to go. I was interviewing the whole cast of MTV's Teen Wolf, and what was her name? Allison Hennig. I think she was one of the stars on that. And basically what happens is, like, we were in a big function hall room, and they have all the press people lined up in a line with their cameras, and like the actors basically just go from one camera right down the line all the way down. And in Famous Monsters, we were literally the last ones all the way down. And so there was this picture of that girl, Allison, who it went viral because the angle that the guy was taking a picture was she had taken her shoes off, and she put them next to her, and the way that it was angled, it looked like she was floating above her shoes. And she was the only one in the picture, except for me, all the way down at the end. And I was just staring at her, and it looked like it went viral because I didn't even know about this. Like, my ex-girlfriend at the time was like, you know, you're in like this viral post that's like everywhere. I'm like, what is it? And they're like, it's like this girl, she's flying above her feet on Comic-Con, and you're the only other person in the picture all the way down, and you just look like you lost your mind. Like, she's like, holy shit, she's flying.
That's funny.
And everybody, and because that's what everybody would comment. Is like, look at this guy all the way down there. He's like, what the fuck is happening? She's like, oh my god, that's my boyfriend. And she told me about it. It was so funny.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah. And I also got to meet Meatloaf that way too. That was like one of the coolest
Who's
things.
Meatloaf?
You don't know Meatloaf,
I
the
don't
rocker, the old rock star?
I don't know if I do.
I would do anything
Oh, yeah.
for love.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, dude, he had a lot of great. I gotta play you some of his.
You know
older
that song's
stuff.
about anal.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
I have told you that before.
But yeah. Well, I mean,
Didn't
it's
we
just
joke about
obvious.
that one day?
But anyway, Meatloaf was so cool. It was because in my family, at anybody who has a wedding, that like one of his songs, what is it called? By the Dashboard Light. That song, I forget.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, but you know it if you heard it. We would play that at every wedding, and it's like this big thing. The Lyons family, everybody just gets in a circle and they just sing it because like my dad used to love that album when we were kids. So now when everybody would get married, we just like play that song and we'd all rock out to it, you know. And it was so funny getting to meet him there, and he was just like, "What's your name?" I'm like, Kevin's like, "Hi, Kevin." He's kind of lost it, dude. He's out there because he was on a new show. Ghost Wars or something like that. I don't even know if it's still playing or anything. But we got to interview him. He was so nice, but it was just so like cool. I got to meet Meatloaf. I don't think you guys.
That's pretty cool, dude.
I got to meet a lot of cool people doing that. I got to go to the George Romero star-laying ceremony because he passed away. It was right when we were finishing up our work with Famous Monsters, and Famous Monsters was putting on the after party for his star-laying ceremony, and I got to meet like Tom Savini, the guy that basically created Jason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he did the special effects and all that stuff. He's a super famous guy. And then Greg Nicotero, who I met like on a couple occasions at Famous Monsters, the guy who created The Walking Dead, the show The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And dude, he was so cool. I actually bumped into him in a movie at the AMC in Woodland Hills. We got to see, what was it, Ready Player One. After Ready Player
cool.
One came out, me and Anton saw him out in the lobby. He's like, dude, is that Greg Nicotero? Like, Greg. He's like, oh, hey guys, what's up? I'm like, holy shit, it's so weird that I just like know you, but it was just cool. It was just like one of those perks working for that job. That was just like, oh man, I'll always remember that, because you know me, my love for horror, and that Famous Monsters is such a staple in the horror industry. And that Famous magazine from the 50s, and being a part of it was just like so cool, dude. It's like one of my favorite jobs.
That was pretty cool, dude.
Yeah.
I'm favorite job. I get to live. I get to be a stand-up comic.
Mhm.
You know, I complain a lot, but it's fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
And you know what, you guys, it's not really. I just thought it was interesting to talk about like all the different types of jobs we had and interesting stories from it. And I'm sure all of you guys have like, you know, your own stories and stuff. But and sometimes, you know, when you spend time at a place, you can think like, oh, I wasted time over there. You know, I wasted too much time. But everything it's only a waste of time if you really don't take anything from it. Every stupid, dumb job, there's something that stays with you forever that you learned that you didn't learn at the next job and you didn't learn the last, and you can take it with you and apply it. Like, I've gotten to like apply things that I've learned in my stand-up or just how to do business smartly. I've done things. I've learned things like I've got to do bits about old jobs, and just like there's little things that you, besides like applying to other jobs, there's things that you learn in life. You know, like. The fact that, like, you know, I helped my parents out so much running the apartment building we were growing up, and I was just a little kid. It's like I know how to do a lot of things now. Yeah. You know, and it just helps you out in life later on. And when you become a husband or something like that, you know what I mean? Like a lot of guys, maybe they're not known for being tidy or whatever. It's a cliche to say that chicks pick on them and stuff like that. But like working for that cleaning company, bro, like I learned like how to clean shit properly.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like cliche, but like I really did, dude. I know how to do the tri-fold towel things, and that's how I fold my shit now. It just always stayed with me. I know how to.
I know how to fold a fitted sheet.
Yeah, dude.
Nobody knows how to do that. I'm like, it's so easy.
Dude, I know how to properly make the bed, you know? And then, working with Dave and Vince, those guys were cool. They taught me, like, so many little tricks that I still use today. Like, when you want to clean a microwave, you just fucking, you put like a cup in there halfway filled with water.
Oh, yeah.
And you turn the microwave on for, like, a minute. And then the steam that it creates makes you clean the microwave easier. Or other things they would teach you to be like, hey, whenever you're cleaning somebody's house, go check if they got some oranges or lemons in the fridge, cut them up, put them in the dishwasher, and now the garbage disposal, like turn that shit on, and like when they walk in the kitchen, it smells citrusy, like someone clean. What was another one? They used to have like these oils, like almost like incense.
They would put it in the vacuum vent.
Yeah, you put them in the vacuum cleaner, so while you're vacuuming, it just smells good, in the house and shit. Like just little things that you pick up, and I just take it with me for the rest of my life. And so I don't think there's ever really a waste. Like we talked about, literally like jobs we had as a child, all the way to like adulthood, and now we're in our careers, and it's not a waste as long as you like took something from every single one or had a good memory. And you're going to apply it towards what you do now, and you're making it useful.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, it's Labor Day, and I've worked too hard.
Let's go get a beer.
Let's get out of here, dude. Anyway, guys, I hope you had a great Labor Day weekend, and I hope that you're having a great Labor Day on your day off, or if you're listening to this, after Labor Day because you didn't do shit on Labor Day. Now maybe you're on your work on a Tuesday, whatever. I appreciate you tuning in. I hope that everything was great and you guys enjoyed and relaxed and enjoyed each other. And I hope that you enjoyed these stories of us sharing some stuff about our past jobs and how we got where we are right now, And I appreciate you guys tuning in. Right now, you guys, we were having a special on the Homeschooled podcast merchandise, our T-shirts, the Ex-President Series Homeschool Podcast T-shirts. Limited edition that will go away once we hit episode 300. So go get them now. They're on sale for Labor Day weekend. So Friday through Monday. So if today's Monday, if you're listening to this, you can still do it because the sale ends on Tuesday. And it's 40% off everything, okay? So like mugs, T-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, our phone cases. I have workout tank tops and yoga pants for chicks. Like it's all on there, you guys. Homeschool podcast merchandise. Go to homeschoolpod.com, click on merch, and check it out, you guys, and support the Homeschool podcast. Like I said, it's a unique design. It's a special edition. I'm going to take them away when we hit episode 300, so go check them out and get them. And if you want 50% off, you can get the promo code on my social media. I will only put my 50% off promo code on social media, so you have to be following me on Twitter or Instagram to get it. But if you're listening to this, 40% off. Use Labor Day 40 at checkout to get the 40% off. All right, you guys, and that's pretty much it. Thank you, Kevin, for joining me for this. Sorry, that was weird. Thank you, Kevin, for joining me for this special edition of Labor Day. And
absolutely, and thank you guys for joining us.
And I'm Agostinos Zoida.
Kevin Lyons.
Homeschool Podcast. See you guys next time.